It's the best hood channel on YouTube, rap news, street politics, and we back with the current state of gangbanging with the Bloods and the Pirus. Now, last year we dropped multiple volumes about the current representation of everybody that's gangbanging in the city. And a lot of members were representing LA gangbanging the right way, and we did have some people that wasn't making the cut when it came to the representation to the masses. Now, this year we got a grip of new people that has stepped out into the limelight, banging they set and putting the B and the P out to the people on the internet. And the key things we grade these people on is gonna be their reputation, their impact, and their activity when it comes to representing the Blood and the Piru name.
And I just saw Rap News and Street Politics doing their report card. And so I know what grade you guys got, even though you all don't know.
Now, people like Rich Moolah, Soulja Boy, and a bunch of other dudes wasn't making the cut. And we had others like Munchie B, Project Bo, and Big Hit, who did come out and represent they sets correctly to the masses out here. And we do got a few people that we spoke on before that still can't get right in the streets. So, you know, we got to jump right into it. Now, the first person we got on the list is King Piru from 456 Island Piru.
Wanna join the gang, gotta slide first. Slide. Which one is the gang? He gotta die first. Which one? Hit him in his brain, make his eyes hurt. Hit him. Put him in the grave on a t-shirt. Niggas say my name, I'ma squeeze first. Palomar's Park, put the P first.
Now, everybody know this dude just came out of left field with it. He started popping on Instagram, you know, doing some wild shit. And he began his career with pressing 4 Extra in regards to the phase and the antics that he seen and heard 4 Extra presenting on No Jumper. But one thing that I'm low-key seeing from King Piru is he's somewhat panhandling the B and the P. And it's somewhat like he's using his status as a member to get the same spotlight that 4 Extra has. Now, some people may call it good business strategy. You know, he getting himself out there. To me, it's looking like panhandling. And I don't think he's afraid to admit that. He said he wants the same shit 4 Extra got. And low key, you know, it take a certain type of person to say some shit like that or to be on some shit like that. And a lot of people are on that. Not everybody say it though. But even with all the gimmicks in the games, this shit has seemingly worked. And he got the internet talking about it. Everybody got his name in their mouth. And what we seen recently was the situation with him and G Uno pulling up to the borderline of that 40 in Hoover Hood. Now, you know, both of them dudes caught a lot of slack for doing that, especially him pulling the thing out and making some threats to some people. But fast forward to when we see him on No Jumper after that, he's basically like he's not on any of that gang banging shit. You know, he just wants to fade.
And y'all gotta understand, you feel me, on my song Slide First, I say, nigga say my name, I'ma squeeze first. You feel me? I'ma slide first. I'ma pull up, whatever the case. But really, I was doing that shit trying to get the fight, you feel me? Like on some promo shit.
It's this type of up and down shit that has people confused, especially these out-of-towners that come out here, they get their rap check, get their rap deal, and they come out here and align themselves with somebody and thinking shit good because of these mixed messages. But one thing we have to know with King Piru is his origins. And I think around all the antics and the jokes and shit, it's easy to forget that he said he got put on the 456 behind the walls. He said that he was claiming Luda's part before this situation.
And then I had got in trouble in junior high school because, you know, I'm claiming Luda's Park at the time, and when I go in there, I didn't know that me going to this school, I didn't know that the Hispanic kids didn't like Pirus at this school, you feel me? I didn't know that the homies on the north side used to be terrorizing shit. So when I go in there, I'm just like, I'm from Piru. They immediately on me, you feel me? Tripping. You know?
Now that right there, some people will say, you know, it's respectable for him to have came out with that and to have admitted that shit. You know what I'm saying? And on one foot it is. But on the other foot, it was really some shit that he had to get in front of if he wanted to be a character in these internet streets because somebody else was gonna put it out there on him. That's some shit you gotta jump in front of when you saying you was from a whole nother hood as an adult, claiming another hood as an adult, not really being from there, and then getting put onto some other shit in prison. You gotta jump ahead of that because 9 times out of 10, if he didn't do that, somebody from the B team would have did it for him. And it would have tainted this whole situation that he got going on right now. And I'm gonna keep it real. There's a lot of people that do that. A grip of people actually that do that out here. But not a lot of them dudes come out of prison and still press it this hard. From what I've seen, because this wasn't their life before they went in. Now, I think he said when he was behind the walls, you know, some people kind of said like, hey, you claiming Luda's Park, you're not even from over there. You say you in Pomona, you live in Pomona. Get put on to Pomona Piru, them is still Pirus. That's some crazy shit. And that's not the type of representation that's to be displayed with the masses watching. I'm gonna keep it 100. That's not what this shit about. But like I spoke on a couple videos back, when I spoke on him and Gino pulling up to LA, I spoke about him being vouched for by Dolow from Athens Park. Now, without Dolow saying that on Munchie B platform, I personally would be giving this dude an F for his gangbanging because his story sound crazy and he got put onto a set in prison. But the one thing that Dolow did solidify was that he was putting it down and holding his own behind the walls. There's no Buster Mark shit on his jacket, no snitching on his jacket, so we can't smut him all the way out. Now, like I said, he recently did get on No Jumper and kind of walk some shit back, especially after that shit between him and G Uno. He seemed to have calmed it down a little bit, and I genuinely think this dude is low-key funny when he not with the extras. They say he out here sending explicit pictures to people, and we seen him dissing that Hefe and calling out 4 Extra for the fade. Still. Now, I doubt that's gonna happen, but I think his whole persona has displayed 456 Island Piru as somewhat of a joke. And we all know how things get when hoods are outside of LA and niggas is coming from outside of LA. Even with Pomona being from LA County, we already know how niggas be talking. Not saying there's anything wrong with the island. Like I stated before, I'm familiar with them dudes. But the way this nigga done jumped out and did all these antics, we gotta get this nigga a G for these internet games with this gangbanging. Now, next up on the list, we got somebody that came up right before King Pill on the internet and really took off. But now he's looking like them bad people. We got Aaron the Plumber from 46th Street Piru in Oklahoma.
I'm gonna get on Donut for not killing your ass, blood. Mentioning that. You keep whooping blood, we gonna activate blood, homie. Don't nobody give a fuck about that roof. Blood, you cost $1,500, my nigga. Nigga, turn your TV off, blood. You telling me threatening my homeboy, blood, like we give a fuck about
nigga, ain't nobody whack. Ain't nobody nigga, I came to you.
Say that. Blood on Piru, all niggas gotta do is say that. And we ain't got it. Mama's kids, we don't give a fuck who it is, blood. Don't no out of town nigga get at us talking about some violence, nigga. You should have knocked blood out when he spit on you and died by it, homie.
Now, you know, that whole situation with his gangbanging, I don't know where to begin. You know, he got these Stockton, Northern California ties. Then it comes out he was in Oklahoma. But one thing we do know is that he claims to be looking for these fades. But one thing we low-key seeing from a lot of niggas right now, these fades gotta be the perfect fade. The shit gotta be lined up right. The proper amount of paper gotta be involved. You know, niggas is turning down 50 balls. Shit, even if 50 is up for the fight, the fighters may come out 10-10 after everything is paid for, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even 7-7. When can niggas really say they making that type of chili for catching a fade? It's a whole lot of pump faking going on, and Aaron the Plumber is somebody a lot of people want to put their hands on. Now, I assume that it's because he be popping it. Maybe that's why also he got popped in his mouth for the same thing. I don't know. But what I do know is that he has not been looking good these last couple months. You know, he came out strong as fuck on the internet with the 20v1s, hella funny, you know, it was it. But then, you know, he's denouncing his gangbanging, but he's the ultimate fade machine. And he really just took on this whole persona of the best street boxer in the entertainment industry right now. But with this situation between him and 4 Extra say he want him and not King Pill. Aaron the Plumber's ducking. And this what we seen from both of these out-of-town niggas, Aaron the Plumber and 607 They trying to take the light off of 4 Extra and say that they don't want no problems with the 40s. Aaron the Plumber talking about the 40s gave him death threats. The promoter don't want to fuck with it because the 40s said they gonna get up on him if anything go left between him and 4 Extra. And I think that's bullshit. Do I think it's a possibility something like that can happen? Yeah. But where your homies at? You know, everybody street niggas, everybody got homies. You can still put it together. But I think he may not have no homies because he got paperwork. Now, this is some nasty shit with this dude and this paperwork, man. Like I said, he got popped in the face. He got hit multiple times from a situation in Oklahoma, I believe. This dude get hit up and ends up telling the police that Brandon Brewer shot him. that he was driving a white SUV and popped at him from the truck. That Brewer was the only one in the vehicle and proceeded to give it up to the police after surviving the shots. Now, this is that same shit I'm talking about you gotta jump in front of. This is the type of shit King Pill jumped in front of when he said he was claiming Luda's part. You know, Aaron the Plumber be having this false sense of nobility and shit. You know, we got on there popping it a whole lot, acting like he hella noble, highest morality and shit. You should have jumped in front of this paperwork before you got on here popping it and said, you know, the nigga did get down on me in a real way and I told on him in a real way. Well, where was that at? Nigga should have said that though. And we see this nigga let Wack talk to him all types of crazy. Wack on the phone cussing and blooding the nigga and doing all this kind of shit. And he just sitting there looking shocked that he was threatened with his life. And then he posted some shit that looked like paperwork insinuating that Wack committed a crime by threatening him in that phone call. We seen this nigga get spit on and he was turned down. He got spit on and touched the spit on his back hella soft and slow and was turned down, slow ass squabble up. This ain't it. And a lot of people want this dude right now. And I think he's tucking his tail just like 607 up. We got to get this dude Aaron the Plumber a F for these faulty ass performances he putting on for the internet. Now, since we on this off-brand shit, you know we got to come with Lil Brazy 30s from West Ogden, Utah.
How the Scraps and Nortes are supposed to be beefing.
Oh, so you don't them either?
Who?
The Southsiders.
No, I fuck with essays. I can't lie. I fuck with LA essays.
But they don't really like being called
The
Scraps,
essays-
right? Like even Lush looks like he's about to jump out of his chair, right?
Fucking banging shit. Where you from? Where the fuck you from, G? Yeah? Startown, nigga. What the fuck it is for you, little fuck off the name. Fucking name.
Now, this little dude right here that popped out with a bowl cut, a taper, and a mullet. Talking about he half black. You know, you can't make some of this shit up, man. But regardless, he talking about he representing that B team out of West Ogden. Now, this dude, 15 years old, you see him, he green as hell. And the reason we got to speak on this is because these dudes come out here and they want to align themselves with West Coast politics. They want to get to the homeland and kind of stamp their gangbanging with members either from Southern California like most people do, or like we see this dude trying to be the next honorary member of EBK, aligning himself with the B-Dogs in Northern California.
Drake, the baby 8, the 556s, hit you in your baby, talking out your neck, get it up like bitch, I'm finna go crazy. JK, Jose K, heard they talking weird, I pull up on his block, I'm smashing out, I shot it with a stick like AA. Ooh wee, but a big ass blink, a 30 stick up on this fucking block, I'm really stepping in like that.
And then we see him coming out here on a press run, pulling up to the Hoovers, and he get on no jumper, dissing Southsiders, and gets ran up on by somebody from DTR. And he's silent. He has no business being out here in these LA streets. Again, to me, this shit no different than Soulja Boy and Chris Brown and all them niggas that come out from different states and assume these identities with West Coast gangbanging. And funny enough, how he got on was being reposted by Chris Brown at 11 years old. And he said at that point, at 11, his name was getting so big, he started to have to carry that thing for his enemigos. Now, at one point, CPS had to grab this little nigga up before an interview. And this where he also stated that his dad was half black. Now, you know, this situation, I gotta see to believe it. But I think he had to utilize that because he out here using the word nigga in his talking, in his raps.
There's a lot of criticism about your use of the N-word and things like that. How do you deal with that? What are your thoughts on that?
Shit. It is what it is. People be thinking what they want, you know what I mean? Like you can't judge somebody off the cover. You know what I mean, off the cover of the book, you know what I mean? Like you gotta know their inside story, you gotta know like what they've been through, who their family is, you know what I mean? Like shit like that.
So you say it just because you are half black, so it feels true to you?
It's just like everybody around me grew up saying it.
But he come out here and he dissing Norteños and comparing Ogden to Chicago. He said it's Buttonland in West Ogden. It's crazy because the police had a whole press conference talking about they hood out there is nowhere near what the real Bloods are. And as of 2024, there was a 50% serious crime reduction in the city of Ogden, 50%. But he said Buttonland, like Chicago.
Then juveniles form their own gangs using the name of well-known organizations but aren't actually affiliated with them. That's what gang police call a hybrid set.
Next thing you know, they're all wearing red and they're trying to be a blood set, and they aren't. It's not anything like the real blood sets.
You know, so I think this dude is real misguided, man. Whoever's in control of this young man has really got him off his square, man, and they want to see this dude crash out. And that he will. He talking about spinning blocks, said he had to pull the thing out on somebody in 9th grade at the school, talking about a hot-ass whip he jumped in. You know, again, as usual, we see too much talking. He got them older dudes around him. Somebody tell the nigga to shut up. But he also said he on a song with Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy and Chris Brown. I wonder, where he getting this idea that this shit cool? All you gotta do is act tough for a couple years and they'll fuck with you. But when we seen his enemies pull up on him, it was none of that. The nigga said, let me call my mom. Talking about he got jumped and was forced to throw up crit. That's crazy.
I was not talking. Bro, God, what is this, bro? I thought I was coming to kick it.
I should beat your ass, nigga.
Bro, I thought we was cool, nigga. I did not come here for this. Hey, let me call my moms.
You lucky there's white people here. Nigga, you lucky I won't beat your ass.
Let me call my moms, bro. I'm not.
But at 15, man, I'ma keep it real. You know, he still got some potential to clean this shit up. And if this is what he wanna do and represent this gangbanging shit, he got some time to do it right. That's on him if his people wanna throw him in like that. Getting around these EBK niggas, these rappers, this young dude gotta realize at some point there's reality behind the curtain, you know? And this is the type of dude that we usually see in 5 years with some ugly ass face tattoos and a cold ass mugshot for some stupid ass shit he did. His impact is trash. He said that he active, you know, he talking about his crimes on the internet, but he also did turn it down when them people ran up on him. And his reputation ain't worth shit. But like I said, he got some time to fix it if this is what he want to do. So we got to give Lil Brazy 30s a D. Ain't no paperwork on his name yet. He did clam up in that situation, but a lot's to be seen with this young nigga, man. So he's sticking with a D. Now, you know, we had to speak on a lot of games being played with this blood and Piru shit by a few people. We just showed y'all Lil Brazy, but we got to get serious with baby B Brazy, Denver Lane Gangsta Bloods.
Shout out to the Who's Who's, man. You know we going crazy. Tapping on the Who's Who's, man. Hey, shit, man. Tapping on the Who's Who's. Dead homies. We back to it on the hood.
Now, Baby Brazy, somebody that's also came out low-key off the coattail of 4 Extra to the internet. You know, 4 Extra was on a crazy press run saying he was knocking everything out. And Baby Brazy, the Kickstarter to the Prisoner YouTube wave, came out and said, hold up, what happened when me and you got down? Seemingly the only person with validity at that time to challenge what 4 Extra was putting out there. And this is how the internet was introduced to this side.
I walked up on him. Hey, where you from? He like, I'm 4 Extra for the Crip. Baby Brazy from Denver Lanes. He like, for the Crip, he turned his back on Jesus Christ. I'm like, on the hood, we gotta get in. Dead homies. I just said that because the nigga said his hood twice. And I'm like, the door open. If we got animosity, it's good. Plus, y'all know his name. He do be hitting with homies and all that. So I'm like, man, let's run it.
Now, everybody in the city knows his namesake, B Brazy. And when you hear this name, you know some heat's coming behind it when it's coming out of Denver Lane. And as more and more seem to come out about why B Brazy is sitting down right now, a lot of people got to see the level of activity that comes behind such a name. Now, we're not going to dig into everything that he done got into. If y'all want to see that, y'all go make sure y'all check out our Denver Lane video. But with charges of having multiple bodies and allegations of having bodies before that, there's really nothing to question when it comes to activity. Now, a few people tried to come out and speak on a situation where it was alleged that he was airlifted out the shit after he got the Hoover whack out on his face. Again, while he was already behind the walls. Now, of course, that situation hasn't been proven. His homies that came out and said never. It didn't happen. And of course, he said it didn't happen. I haven't spoke to anybody that's corroborated that story either. So I'ma say it doesn't seem like it happened. But one thing I think we all gotta realize when it comes to these dudes, like I said, with this Prisoner YouTube wave, a lot of these dudes are not coming home, man. We really gotta grasp the reality of this shit, man. It's a sad situation because we looking at people that could potentially be in there 20, 30, 40 years from now. If YouTube still exists, we may see these men get old behind these walls in these YouTube streets. And I think the reality and the gravity of that situation is greater than the content that's being put out. But this is what comes with the activity and what leads to the impact. Of course, his name is impactful in his set, but at what cost? But sadly, this is what the shit entails, the sign up. This comes with the territory. So, hopefully he can make it out this situation, just like another dude from his side of town, Lil Hawk from Crenshaw Mafia, made it out. His situation is at home with his family right now. But activity, impact, and reputation is at an all-time high. So we gotta give Baby B Brazy an A for how we represent Denver Lane Gangsta Bloods and the Bloods in general. Now, somebody whose name has been brought up multiple times in Baby B Brazy's cell by his cellie GB is Chef Boy from Westside Piru.
Y'all call a pack out, nigga. 12 niggas on me. All you do is bust my shit. Niggas is marks, blood. Barlins, nigga. Watch this though, nigga. My body's so sore, blood. I swear to God. Oh my God. So much pain.
Now, I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Chef Boy has the hottest record in the city. We all know that it's going up, but there's a lot of whispers coming from the who's in regards to Chef Boy's activity and reputation. So a couple videos back, we did show that clip of Chef Boy after he got touched by the Harlems. Now that clip was old, it wasn't a new clip. This happened years ago, but the fact remains that the Harlems got up on him and he wasn't doing well. Now, I don't know, people react differently to getting jumped. Have I seen something like this before? Yes. From a member? No. Not a good one, at least. But my thing is, that situation, not really that crazy. I think he put some extras on the camera, but nothing to just count him out this shit. You know what I'm saying? He got the pause put on him. It is what it is. But the who's who seemingly had a lot to say when it came to his Westside Piru affiliation by saying he's a walk-on. I don't know how true that is. GB claimed to have been with this dude personally, physically, on multiple different occasions, and he claims his performances weren't up to par, saying he was spooked in a party, spooked to hop out at a gas station, and that he really wasn't with the all-around activities. But one thing I gotta say is, a lot of people play different roles in the hood. It never struck me as Chef Boy being somebody that was a super gangster from Compton. Now, I'm never gonna excuse no spooky or scary shit when you a part of a set and rolling with your homies and being turned down. But all that shit seemingly goes hand in hand, walking on and not being fully with the function. If some of those allegations are true, they don't seem far-fetched. Not everybody is a stepper. Not everybody tat their face up and go peel shit. But I think the main thing that people talk about with Chef Boy is them lyrics in them songs. Now that gets a lot of motherfuckers in trouble, man, especially when I speak about it on this channel. Niggas is saying a whole lot in these records. I'm killing this, I'm stepping on this, we doing that. And man, when the motherfuckers say, man, they hood just whip somebody down. Hey man, you the police. Hey, you just said it in a song. So I think a lot of people be having to be careful with how they portraying themselves in these records. Like I said, that record is a hit record. I like it. My little cousin and them like it. And it's a good look for the city. But it did have some extra out gangbanging in it. And if people saying you not like that, and then we seeing videos you getting stepped on and kind of crying about it, you know what I'm saying? Shit just is not looking how it's supposed to look. That's all I'm saying. And then we heard about Benzo allegedly wanting to get up on Chef Boy. Again, all of these is just allegations though. But how many allegations are we gonna have before something just ends up being fully true? Benzo, well-respected member. We spoke on him when we did that LA Sheriff's Department video. The LA Sheriffs ended up killing him in a dirty, foul, criminal way in the Athens parks. But he was a well-respected member from over there. They saying that he wanted to get up on Chef Boy for this, that, and the third. I don't know. But like I said, when these lyrics is putting on for the set, we can't have the lackluster membership. It's got to be full-fledged if it sound like it. So we got to give Chef Boy a C. His impact is going crazy right now. Like I said, his name is buzzing completely throughout the city. Reputation, a little shaky. And activity, a little shaky. I got to give Chef Boy a C, but he's doing better than most. Now, these next two dudes are returning members. We spoke about them on the last report card from last year. They didn't pass the class and they didn't get expelled, but they keep doing the bad shit, so we gotta address it. P4K and 5 Much from the Baby Stone Gorillas, BPS.
She said she got wet.
Oh shit.
Hey, don't put me on no camera. Nigga, I'm coming hard about mine.
Now, last year I grouped the Baby Stones together just because I feel like one member represents them all. And you know, this is when we seen them together a lot more at the time. The last couple years, they've always been tight-knit. But as time has gone on, they kind of drifting apart, going separate ways. And it's probably because they in and out of jail and doing a bunch of shit, you know, and we seen a lot of solo shit coming from all their members. But the main two dudes that seem to be with the activity the most is P4K and 5 Much. Now, top 5 is also somebody who I'm gonna categorize with them. The main key things that all three of them dudes have in common is them eye busters. E-Killer ain't got no eye busters. And them eye busters come with a certain level of expectation. Gangbangin period, of course, does. But when you tat that shit on your face, man, you cannot be out here doing the bunk shit. And this is what we keep seeing time and time and again from P4K and 5 Much. I'm sorry. But last year they got off on the wrong foot. They was in the courthouse, didn't want to get cracking with the Harlems. We've talked many times extensively about people getting cracking at the courthouse. It's on site, especially if you got these eye busters. Clearly, you wasn't afraid to catch one case, catch another one. Like I said, when you tat this shit on your face, hey man, you just gonna quit? No, you gotta get cracking. And they ran away from the Harlems at the courthouse. You know, they did that little walk. Y'all niggas know that walk, man.
Didn't hit the staircase.
Look at Cub, bro. He just said hit the stairs. Nigga just said hit the stairs. Now he finna make a scene. I'm finna beat on Cub in the middle of the court. Can I get a fade? Can I get a fade? Why you running from the camera? Can I get a fade? Can I get a fade? You ain't get no shot in the court, nigga. Shut your bitch ass up. Yo, water on the dead homies.
You know, we seen the Harlems. Now, the Harlems, they were filming. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? What was up with that? But we did see the 30s get down with Treyway at the courthouse when they bumped into him. But even with the Harlems recording, we seen 5 Much kind of creep out, you know, real, you know, it wasn't a good look. And then after, outside the courthouse, they could have just went on, slid off, and got cracking. Not everything just turns into a murder. You know, the fade was warranted. Nobody finna, you know, it's very rare to see somebody smoke somebody at the courthouse broad day. The fade warranted. So that's how they made it in a somewhat unfavorable position last year with the current state of gangbanging. Now this year, it's just getting worse. You know, it started off with P4K having them allegations of the minors and shit like that. Now putting that type of jacket on somebody, very disturbing. But the charges were there. Charges are just allegations. Innocent until proven guilty. So we can't sit here and say that man was doing any of that because they're just charges. But the charges do look nasty. But we're going to leave that right there. After that situation, we seen him looking like a silverback, gorilla pimping on the feet, whooping the female up on the blade. Look at, he was going in on the little female. And that wasn't a good look. And then he had this situation with Dolow. They going back and forth on the internet, doing some dissing, flexing murder beat. And then these two dudes run into each other. Now, Dolow, we gonna speak on him in another video. It looked like somebody dropped a low. I highly doubt that was a chance encounter. You know, we seen P4K had his driver. The driver probably spooked, but Dolow pull up dissing and nobody gets cracking. All that wolfing on the internet, it turned into nothing.
Me too. Let me see it. 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 I ain't see it. Where your gun at? I don't like stains, bro. Let me see your gun. You say you don't like what? I don't. Sir, shoot me. Shoot me. Pull up, ready? Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Where your gun at? Yeah, nigga. Fuck stains. Yeah,
So, you know, like I said, this year's been bad for P4K. 3 flagrant fouls and 1 potential. One of them, hey, if them minor charges is real and come to fruition, I hope not. But if they do, he's done. It's over with. He gonna be explaining himself for the rest of his life. Now, people say he do be getting that county check. Now, I don't know if he just fully not right in the head. I can't say. But I do know he keeps messing up while representing this blood shit. And then 5 Much. 5 Much was with him at that courthouse when they ducked the Harlems. And now it comes out that he called the guards in the county. Like I said, both of these dudes got some crazy eye busters. I don't know exactly what they say, but I know what they are. There's no room for any of this nonsense. We shouldn't be having this conversation, none of this conversation, about turning anything down with either one of these two, especially all that dissing that they was doing when they first came out. And I like some of their music too. I was rocking with that. I like what they did. What was that, like 2022, 2023? That was it. They've gotten far away from that. P4K turned into his pimp shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know when you in a 4-man group, them checks hit a little bit different, divided by 4, plus management fees and all of that. I'm not finna be pocket watching, but something got them dudes off course from making the music that they was making a couple years ago. And that's resulted in P4K and 5 Much both being in some unfavorable situations. But at this point, we gotta get these dudes a deal. And we will update this if them nasty charges on P4K turn into reality. But we still ain't seen no snitching from them dudes. They turning down phase. Hey, man, y'all got to do better. Last year, we gave them a B, and they stepping on their progress. Half of the Baby Stones with a D. Now, next up on the list, we got somebody coming out the east side, making his way to be a full fixture in the entertainment industry. We see him doing numbers on the views, seen him in interviews, somebody that a lot of people are starting to get acquainted with. We got Dolow from Eastside Athens Park Bloods.
Squabble cowboy from Kitchen, beat up country from the A. Smoke from Raymond, got a fadey out of squabble for his weight. Iron Man from underground made me fumble on the plate. Then I kicked some dust with devil 40s the next day. I put hood, rock the bleep, and then noodles blanked the owl. Rock face was looking brazy, he ain't even go to chow. Had to ride with the exes and they tried to do me foul. Pop a crap from PDL, had to put me out the crowd. I got an ill.
Now, like I said previously, Dolow has vouched for King Pill. And King Pill said Dolow was the hardest nigga that he was with behind them walls. Unlimited fades was the term that he used for Dolow. And we see that it rang to be true. And he's not only respected by his hood, but he's also respected by his enemies as well. And one thing that we be looking for with members aligning themselves with this entertainment social media space is how they conduct themselves when the camera comes on and when the questions come out. Now, Munchie B did conduct the interview. Munchie B is never really messy, which results into some easy layup interviews, which is a good thing. This is what you want when you first coming out. No Jumper is like the expert level of interview. You can get caught with your pants down in No Jumper based on some of the questions that might be coming at you. Dolow's interview with Munchie B really gave people the opportunity to see exactly who he was. And he's had some other interviews as well, and he's performed. Not saying too much, not doing too much, representing this set right.
And y'all was able to just run some phase like that?
It was a lot of the young dudes up there, you feel me? And I felt like the older dudes was respectable, but we was kind of doing what we want up there, feel me? So
that's on my mama, nigga. The homie Dolow from Athens Park was one of the most activist riders, nigga, I done ever been on the yard with, nigga. On my mama, nigga. Nigga had unlimited fades, nigga. Nigga used to catch back-to-back fades, bro. Nigga had like 20 fades in the old foursome, nigga. My mama, nigga, spooking niggas. Homies too.
But a situation that we spoke on with Dolow, like I spoke on a couple videos back, y'all make sure y'all check our Athens Park video out. Some time ago, Dolow was activated, man. He was in the mix. We seen the folks trying to label him as a senior member of APB, somebody that got a lot of pull and respect over there. But one thing we got to say is that he's definitely pushing positivity with his homies over there in the Athens Parks. We seen some snitches try to throw him under the bus, and it didn't work. Everything panned out. But like I said, somebody who I feel is representing the shit the right way. Not everything is about the home run. We see a lot of people getting out of pocket and getting out of character, getting into some uncomfortable spaces just because they want to blow up in this social media shit. And that's what's going to have niggas looking stupid in the end. So with Dolow, I like the grind. We know APB is a reputable hood, nothing to be played with. Y'all gonna make sure y'all support Dolow's movement over there on the east side, man. We gotta give him an A. Reputation at an all-time high. Impact is strong in his hood. And we've heard countless accounts of his activities on the streets and behind the walls. Dolow with an A. Now this next individual, man, is somebody that just will not leave. He's the ultimate boss. It's sad to say. He was on the last report card we did, failing, doing the worst. And he's still here, lingering, still doing the bad shit. We got Cash Jones, Wack 100, Pacoima Piru Bloods.
What's 6ix9ine shit?
When he was saying, fuck
6ix9ine been doing that.
I understand
that. That ain't what that got to do with me.
No, but you were being best buddies with 6ix9ine when 6ix9ine was doing the most disrespectful shit to the BDs and O-Block in general at that time.
First of all, hold on.
But
I don't manage 6ix9ine.
Gang. That's not.
I don't manage.
But you were co-signing them the same way where Big U and all these Crips got mad at you for co-signing them as well.
Nigga,
obviously, that was very problematic.
You think I give a Crip getting mad at me about? Is you out your dumb ass mind?
You tell us.
Now, I've really studied Wack. I've got to know exactly the type of person Cash Jones is. When I see him, he be up close, in niggas' personal space, tapping their chest with the nephew. This is a lying-ass nigga, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he claimed to be a Crip before at one point in his life. This is somebody that everybody wants to see away from the internet and away from the industry, man. But he just keep going. It's crazy. But something I seen recently was the way Adam was talking to this dude in front of them dudes from the viral way when they was up at No Jumper.
I don't think you could say I'm gangster if the last time you did gangster shit was like 3 decades ago.
Adam, you don't even, this for the first time at your table, you're alienated. Shut the fuck up because you don't even get it.
No, I think Adam and Wack's relationship is honestly on another level. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes been doing business for a long time. But it was almost uncomfortable to watch how Wack was getting marked out in front of 2 other dudes by Adam. Now, I know there'd be a lot of friendly banter, a lot of witty back and forth that be happening, but Adam seemed to be serious, where he said he's tired of the war stories from Wack. He's tired from the shit that was done 20 years ago when Wack was 19. He's tired of this gangster image and this super blood Piru shit that he's putting out to the people. Now, all of that came on the heels of multiple allegations, man. I'm damn near tired of talking about the nasty situations that Wack surround. The Big U indictment, Brick Baby indictment, the Main Street indictment. But there is a situation where he got caught up trying to be the muscle for Ray J. And we gonna speak on Ray J too. But Wack gets caught on the phone trying to be the bully and ends up threatening somebody who was in business with Ray J at one point. And now both of them niggas is getting sued for gang threats and emotional distress. Wack claims he's connected across the globe. He don't have to kill nobody. They just gonna do it because that's what they feel they told. These is Wack words. Straight threat. But the main key thing people keep asking is, how does he keep dodging having to answer for this type shit now? I'm not gonna imply anything that warrants a criminal charge or nothing like that. We're not doing none of that. But how does he keep being around these situations where the people be involved and he always on the outside looking in? That shit make me uncomfortable. This is why people be having these snitch allegations on Wack. He always very close to the crack off, but he never going down. I think he just ain't learned his lesson. Then it's allegations of him getting B Brazy's phone took, just doing the bad work. But he's still here, man, until some true paperwork come out, which I believe at one point it will. I wholeheartedly believe that he's somewhere with some smut on his name. This little lawsuit, this ain't really smut. But I think that's the only time that we gonna see Wack having to move around when that paperwork drop on his boy. But nonetheless, we still gotta give him an F- because he doing the bad work. He's the bad people. Very uncomfortable, shifty, shady, untrustworthy, reputation, nasty, impact, absent, activity, too old to be considered. We're not talking about some shit that happened 30 years ago. Wack 100, F-. Now, next up on the list, we got somebody that say Wack snitched on him, got his phone yanked, and stopped his paper from coming out the cell in the CDC. We got GB from Eastside AMG, Miller Gangsta Bloods.
The streets could make the pen move too. It ain't nothing. So who is Blood back there disrespecting me? I don't even know Blood.
Who you talking about?
Whoever your celly is, Blood, talking about you
Y'all
bitch ass. Where you from? Where you from?
Nigga, I'm from Millers, nigga. They call me GB from Miller Gangster.
Now, GB is somebody that has a lot of scrutiny around his name as well. You know, I'm gonna keep it real. You know, he seems to be the boisterous of the two when it comes to him and B Brazy in that cell. Sometimes it seems like he may talk out of turn or may say too much, or at least that's what Munchie B was feeling. They had fell out over some shit. And Munchie B, I believe, fell out with the whole who's over too much being said in regards to the B team. But one thing that was brought up in that Dolow interview with Munchie B was that Dolow had got GB up off the yard. Now, the way it sounded is, you know, it could have been that, it could have been something else that could have possibly been excused, but at that point in time, everybody's performances needed to be at an all-time high, and GB's wasn't. It said that he was supposed to get down with somebody, and he was supposed to pop out and be present, and he wasn't, and he had to be removed. Now, I've heard multiple accounts of him having to be removed from multiple situations. I don't know how many are true, but one is for sure true. Now, again, the details around that situation came out, and it was kind of said that it may not have been warranted, but either way, it happened. Now, he gave accounts about his activity. B Brazy seems to be in concert with his activity. But what we do know is that he is sitting in that cell for getting cracking. I will say that. And you know, like I said, this is what comes with the territory. Everybody's roles be different, but at some point you may be put in a position where you have to show if you're gonna get cracking or not, and he did. His activity on the streets is not in question. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he's been sitting down longer than B Brazy. We spoke about his situation in our Kitchen Crib video. Y'all go make sure y'all check that out. We dropped that Athens Park and then the Kitchen Crib right after that. Check both of them out. GB whole situation in there about how he performed on the streets. But like I said, in that cell, he seems to have a lot to say. He's the one that said all that work about Chef Boy. But again, he said he was personally with Chef Boy on multiple occasions. He said Chef Boy had called his sister, asked him what he owned, you know, trying to calm it down. And I've heard allegations of him being taken care of by the Crips in the county. And then fast forward to the who's, he's doing some dissing. Now, I don't know about that situation that transpired with him in the county and who he was fucking with. Some people said that his own homies wasn't taking care of him. I can't say. And I can't fully smut him out either. I know he don't have no paperwork. He didn't snitch on nobody on his case. But for them infractions behind the walls, we gotta give GB a beat for his performance coming out the Miller Gangsta Bloods. Now, a young dude out here that's really confused me with the trajectory of his gangbanging was recently brought to my attention after it said he was doing some dissing after King Boy from Harlem lost his life last month. We got G Savage, 2700, or is it 3900? I don't know. From Westside Rolling 20 Bloods.
900 come from?
Barlums, but the 3900 came from in Gardena.
Right.
I just so happened to be a key player in the streets.
Right.
Now, that situation with the 3900, you know, I find to be an interesting one. And I find this dude, Dylan McCord, to be an interesting character on the West Side. Now, I'm familiar with a lot of people on the West Side, and I'm not familiar at all with this dude and where he came from. But allegedly, he's from Gardena, which is where he got this 3900 from. Now, anybody that knows the 20 Bloods on the West Side, 39 is something that they'll never be associated with unless they whacking it out. I'm gonna keep it real. He got on the claim that he blew up with the music first and then got put on the 20 Bloods and then changed his name to 2700. We know 27 main block over there, Lauren Miller. We know what's going on over there in the 20s. But changing your shit from 3900, 39th Street is the #1 enemy of the 20 Bloods. To even have that on your name at one point, no matter where it came from, I don't know if that's 139th Street in Gardena, but to be associated with that and then become a 20 Blood and change it to 2700 is a slap in the face. But he said he got put on after he blew up. We seen this dude gangbanging with some goofies in his classroom when he was a kid, before he blew up. Had the Asians and the white boys in there turning up with the gangbanging and all of that. It's these type of games that be being played that water this shit down. Look at this dude. You can clearly see it. It's watered down. And then you gonna get on here and start dissing somebody that got killed that your hood had nothing to do with?
Try again. Maybe in the next life, big dog. Stop all that dissing shit, man. Niggas gotta grow up and get a job, man. Figure this shit out, man, because this is not the way, bro. Y'all niggas gonna be sitting here getting y'all chest pumped and all kind of shit. That's not boo, bro. At all, bro. Y'all niggas gotta tighten the fuck up. What's that shit on his jacket? What's that shit on his jacket? Oh, well, it don't matter. He dead, right?
Yep.
He dead. He should have took that shit off his jacket. Maybe that's why. I don't know, though. I don't know. I'm in Miami. This really ain't got nothing to do with us, bro.
That's the young man that got killed over there in the 9-0s by Century and Van Ness. I'm not gonna speak on that situation, but I know for a fact his hood ain't had nothing to do with that, especially him. And you know, we see this dude with these influencers with random weird niggas, and you know, he get around these dudes and start talking this blood talk, and they think it's valid. And this is how these dudes from out of town come out here and say, oh, I know D Savage, he's a 20 blood. And they come out here thinking they can move around and be like him. That's crazy. You know, I heard the Coast had him running up at the Beverly Center, completely turned down. If I'm not mistaken, he has some ties over to 84th, right by Crenshaw, Manchester, over in Inglewood. I don't know if he's still over there, but this dude is playing games outside. And then he get on Vlad TV. A female asked him where the 3900 came from, and he just flat out dissed the Harlems.
I love Draco the Ruler. You get what I'm saying? But come on now.
One of his associates, K7, was saying how they let
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he on some snitch rat shit. I don't condone that weird type of shit. Yeah, he should have kept his mouth shut. Yeah, he on some first 48 shit. Yeah, that's weird. We don't do that. The 20s don't do that. I mean,
he just lost his,
Now, it's something about this dude that just gives me these vibes of him getting flipped. You know, I don't know how much he's in his hood, but the way he talking is like he a frontline member. But this is not it. No reputation at all. Impact, horrible. Heard he running from people. Activity, absent. F for D Savage. We not doing none of this. This is random. This is the second person coming out of Gardena. Wasn't 03 from Gardena too? This shit just left field. This dude left field to me. I don't like it. But a young dude that I do appreciate and respect how he's coming out here, even though it's crazy disrespectful, you gotta stand on it. Redfase, Eastside Swan Bloods.
I said, as soon as I touch 100 P's, 10 P's going for the set. So niggas been set out the way, blood. Switches, machine guns, all of that. So be careful. All ops, nigga. Be careful who you hang with. No cap. Be careful, man.
Now, we just did the Swan video. We spoke on Redfase a little bit extensively. Like I said, some people may call him CK Face for what he got on his face. I spoke about these eye busters. You know, this is a direct ticket to frontline participation, and this is what we see this dude doing. We see him starting to rap a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But mostly what we see is him looking for the action. And I'm pretty sure the action is looking for him too. I'ma just keep it real, because this dude be doing a lot of dissing and has some disrespectful antics about his gangbanging. But again, that's the name of the game. But in terms of activity, at an all-time high. And this is young life. This is a young dude. He right in between that age of D Savage and Lil Brazy 30s. But this is what the reality of full participation looks like. Look at the difference from this compared to that. Now, I'm not gonna say just because you extra'd out, that's what gets you a good reputation. But it's multiple factors you gotta take in with this. Number one, is your hood even active? We know the Swans, extremely active, surrounded by their enemies. We see this dude frontlining 24/7, outside. They pop the camera on, he outside every time. Not ducking it. Put it on his face, not ducking it, standing on it.
If I catch you with your mama, you get it passed. But if I see you with your bitch on the gang, I'm on your ass. If you ain't trying to catch the body, pass me the strap. I'ma walk a nigga down before he knock me out the mat. 779, 804, 89 dudes. Everybody start running every time he come through.
You know, you being hella extra'd out and your hood not being in war is not giving you no points. So this is what I'm talking about, how this dude differs from some of the other cats. who may be just as extra out, but aren't in a favorable position. But one thing I see with the dissing the enemies, I think some things can kind of be kept on the low. Y'all check out that Swine video we did. You know, he's doing some heavy wordplay with some young people that's losing their lives in that section. He's not sparing any words, family members and all. And I think that's the only drawback I'm gonna say with putting it on the internet, typing it as soon as you publish it on your Instagram, put it in your story, you know, where you laughing at whoop-de-whoop or doing this and that. I think that brings a little too much of the wrong attention. It's cool to do that around your homies, and you know what I'm saying, in the streets to know this. But as soon as you put it on the internet, that's where that wrong attention comes from, especially when you wasn't the one to knock it down. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the only thing that got to be worked on and cleaned up from his point. But like I said, he is doing some rapping right now. And you know, with these rappers, you know, sometimes all publicity is good publicity. So that may be the model that he's taking to get his name on, you know what I'm saying? And that's all cool, but activity-wise, at an all-time high, reputation seems to be solid. Ain't no snitch paperwork or heard no smut. Like I said in that Swan video, I think he caught a headshot. He's for sure somebody that one of their enemy hoods would like to get up on. I'm gonna keep it real. This is just the name of the game. That's what you call a trophy when you get up on a high performer. And you know, that activity and that reputation will lead to some high impact. But other than that, putting that stuff on the net, I think it can be spared for this specific member. So I'm gonna give him an A-. Just get off the internet with the talking about who's dropping in these sections, man. Now we got somebody else from the east side, but he's not originally from the east side. AOF Niino, Bounty Hunter Watts.
You already know what's the deal. Me and the homie Nino came over here one time. Out of the Bounty Hunters, came over here to the 40 one time. I was born this motherfucker. Feed the community one time, buy $200-300. What? Super rainy day. Rock it all the way in.
Hey, Khalid slapped that, bro.
Now, his origins are the main point of the argument with AOF Niino. You know, I got a homie from Moreno Valley. He said he went to high school with him in Moreno Valley, at Moreno Valley High or something like that. He said he's well aware of who he is and where he came from. He said at that time he was hanging out with blood members as well in Nevada. But as we see, at some point, he's glued it together and has became a part of Bounty Hunter Watts' blood.
Trey B, steady pimpin' minors, he a weird creep. G29, big bleak, watch his 2 milli squeeze. Triple K, clothing when we slide, this ain't no Louis V. Bad bitch, tryna get near me, gotta send a feet. I'll be safe to stay with little baby, I ain't been in cheeks.
Now, we kind of made a splash this year when he got into it with J-Bo. Now, we know J-Bo has nothing to do with the politics down here. And I think that made situations arise for him down here. We know he went up there to Nightingale, took the street side, did all that, was beefing with them dudes up there. But down here, some dudes from Grape Street was trying to get up on him. Real Watts Baby. Now, somebody dropped his low. I heard some shit about Real Watts Baby just slashing his tire. You know what I'm saying? But he was in a hotel or something like that. The Grapes was trying to have some words with this man. And his manager, Christopher Lovejoy, had called into the Grapes. Now, I don't know the full details about that whole situation. Some of it was muddy to me. You know, it said that they ended up getting his phone somehow. I don't know how they got his cell phone. You know, if they actually caught him physically and he ran and he dropped his phone. Those are the allegations, but it did seem like they got his phone. But again, that situation is still kind of murky. Nothing fully came out about exactly what transpired after that. Because after that, we seen him with DC Baby Draco pulling up to the Bounty Hunters, and the Bounty Hunters vouching for this dude, even with him being from Moreno Valley. He's also admitted to being from Moreno Valley. And that's one of them things, like I said, the same with King Pill, Aaron the Plumber. When you got something that seems to be unfavorable, you have to jump in front of it. Everybody knows, like I spoke many times, when you from out of town, when you know, and out of town is the Inland Empire, Lancaster, anywhere other than the city, people gonna hold that against you. We all know this. Regardless of how reputable you are, you know, somebody's always gonna say, oh, them nigga from Lancaster, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So he had to get in front of that, and he did when he was at No Jumper by saying he's not from the projects. But the Bounty Hunter members do function with him, do rock with him, and he be over there with them. Now, the only key thing I have a problem with is the situation with him and 600. You know, the bad people. 600 is Lil Wack 100 to me and to a lot of people. Everybody knows this nigga's nasty. But when the feds came and dropped that indictment on you, and then he go up to the courtroom and he's in the courthouse and mean mugging people's families and sitting right checking out proceedings of somebody's court, hey, that nigga's a bitch. And I think it's bad discernment on AOF Niino's part to be rocking with him. And I know a lot of people say, you know, that's my business. Worry about your business. All right. Until you fall out with him and he in your courtroom sitting on the front pew looking at you go down. You can't trust nobody like that. And I think that's my only problem I have with Niino. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, him being from Moreno Valley, hey, they let him over there. They rock with him. That's bounty hunter business. I haven't seen no smut on his name. The situation between him and the Baby Lokes, that's also bounty hunter business. Those are main enemies. Inevitably gonna be an issue. So I think that's normal in the field of play between Bounty Hunter Watts and Grape Street Watts. Nothing surprising. But just for aligning itself with Christopher Lovejoy in any kind of way, shape, or fashion, I wouldn't even have Christopher on my phone. I gotta give AOF Niino a like I said, no smut on his jacket. He seems to be outside. We know a lot of that he uses as self-promotion. He's trying to get himself on. You know, not gonna say the most impactful by far from Bounty Hunters, nowhere near it, but doesn't have too much smut on his name, man. I can't sit here and lie in front and just, you know, get down all the way on him just because he rocking with Lovejoy. I want to, but I gotta be fair and I gotta give AOF Niino a B. Now the next person we got on the list is somebody that got some smut on his name, and he broke the internet with how he did it. Heto, 6 Deuce Harper Park Brims.
On the dead homies, you ain't from Rams?
Sir, you ain't from Rams.
You ain't from Rams, bro?
No, sir.
On the hood, you on gangbang,
What
right?
you doing on your phone? Who you
Let's say,
calling?
y'all ain't from Rams?
What's that paw on your face?
All right, y'all.
He got a paw.
Cutting off from Snoover?
He got dead paw.
On
What's
the
that?
dead homies, nigga, fuck Snoover, nigga on the hood.
Fuck Snoover, fuck
From
Red,
kid,
fuck all
dead
that.
homies.
Nigga on hood.
Now this is a situation that I kind of gotta go a little bit deep into because of somebody else who's from the B team who had maybe a similar interaction that we heard about. But just to confront the main topic, we all know what happened with Heto in the 9-0s. He with a female from Brims. We spoke about this extensively in our Brims video. He with the female. Dudes from 9-0 who kick it in that alley right behind that shop had recognized the female and her car. They already knew these dudes was from Brims. They know who Heto is. He be rapping, you know. They already knew. They just had to test the water. Ain't nothing like somebody admitting that they who you think they is. So they ran up on him, pressed him, and dissed his hood. He looked at him straight in the eyes, said, no, sir, he's not from there. Was with none of that. She said she's looking people dead in their eyes with the utmost sincerity and said no, they didn't want it. It then comes out that Heto leaves the female in the 9-0s. Mind you, her tire popped or some shit. Something happened with her car, so they had to stop. He gets on, the 9-0s circle back, and the female is left to catch a fade. Dolow. Now this was of the utmost flagrancy, you know, but there was a situation that we heard Mad North talk about. We know Mad North from A-Tray Gangsters. When he spoke about the time that he got caught up in the 40s with Frosty, he said that he was at Millennium. Everybody know what's up with Millennium, the #1 barbershop. If y'all was kids, everybody, we all used to get our hair cut at Millennium. He said that he got caught up in the 40s and the 40s was plotting on him. Now he said he could see the 40s plotting on him from across the street. And if y'all remember, I think he said the 7-Eleven, Blockbuster used to be over there. That McDonald's is on the same side of the street as Millennium. So I think they was over there by that 7-Eleven where that Blockbuster used to be. And he seen the 40s plotting on him. He said that Frosty had to get on. He said that he had to stay because his mom's was over there and he wasn't finna leave his mom's. Frosty left him and his mom's. Now, Mad North said this situation when he was sitting down with Munchie B. I seen Munchie B kind of perk his ear to it. I'm not gonna lie. Munchie said, huh? But I don't think he didn't want to address it at that time. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a situation that got swept under the rug, but that was flagrant. There's never a point you with the homie, even if he from another hood. Both of y'all is beefing with the 40s. Both of y'all is in a bad spot. And his mom right there, I'm not leaving the homie. You don't leave the homie regardless. He said some dudes that they knew from Swans had pulled up. Frosty hopped in the whip with them and he got on. Even if the homie say it's okay, cool, get up out of there. That's the last time I'm gonna go anywhere with you. Even if I said, go ahead and get up out of here, nigga, you left? And Frosty got an A on the last report card. I'm gonna keep it real. He got an A. But the situation with Matt North, I'm not gonna revisit his grade, but that's just something that can't be done. You can't lead a homie. Heto left the home girl. Now, I feel like Heto's situation quite possibly could have been maybe a little bit worse. I don't know. Both of y'all is caught out of bounds. You outnumbered. Heto really solo. He got a female. She gonna get maxed out quickly. It's just gonna be you left. With Frosty, he was with Matt North. At least you got a 2-man to get packed on. You got somebody that's gonna rock with you on the fade. But either way, leaving your peoples. How do you sit with yourself if they end up getting their shit peeled off after you left them? It's a bad game, man. But with that, I know Heto did the bad work. Before then, his record seemed to be clean. But I think it was flagrant enough to no sir everything. I'm going to have to give Heto a D. You don't have no snitch paperwork, none of that. Don't have many other allegations of doing some bunk shit. This situation single-handedly has brought him down to a D. He has no more room for error. He is literally on his last straw with this shit. Now, last but not least, man, we got to hit y'all with somebody that's been in the industry for a long time, has really flown up under the radar with this Piru shit, but clearly he's still outside squeezing people. Ray J from Eastside Centerview, Piru.
I grew up in Centerview, and since I was like 13, like maybe even 12, I was extremely banged out.
Now, for everybody that doesn't know where Centerview is, it's technically in Carson, right up under Compton, bordering the Compton hoods, Swamp Hood, T-Zone, Lantana Block, but they pushing Carson. Now, Centerview, not active. I'm gonna keep it 100. On Billings Drive, Centerview Drive, Brayton Hall, nice area, beautiful homes over here. Walnut Street, there's nothing going on from Walnut to 169th and south of Walnut. I'm gonna keep it real. There's nothing going on over there. But this is where Ray J from. And one thing we seen from Ray J, man, he be playing games. He always on a scheme. He like the West Coast Master P, man. And honestly, I don't know if that's a slight to Ray J or Master P. I'm gonna keep it real. But he always seemed to be scheming and plotting on some shit. And now he using Wack as his muscle, as we seen in that lawsuit. He was on some shicey shit, trying to yank somebody out their proceeds for that scooty bike and employ Wack services to squeeze whoever he wanted to be squeezed. But one thing we know, man, Ray J been acting and rapping since we was kids, man. The full-fledged gangbang activity has not been there, but honestly, that could be, again, Ray J just operating in the shadows of the city with the Piru shit, pressing lines without the cameras there. He could be the boogeyman of this shit. You know what I'm saying? You never know. That's what he's seeming like right now. But he's still a funny character. And if he is repping the P on the low, I would say he's doing it better than a few of these people on the list, man, who was on bunk, But he's somebody that we overlooked on the last report card and kind of forgot, that he's still in the mix. We see him still outside, still participating in all of the entertainment aspects of LA. And we've seen him with just about every character on the gangbang scene. Now, even though he got an endless amount of gimmicks and tricks up his sleeve, I might have to give Ray J a B. Activity, this lawsuit alleged that he breathing on people. He ain't never had no smut on his name, never had no snitch allegations, never did no true bunk in the city. And he been impactful, man. Like I said, this dude been putting it down since we was kids with the acting, man. So Ray J, gotta stick to a B. But this was going on with the current state of gangbanging and the blood and Piru representation in the city. When you bring yourself to the media and present yourself as a blood, Crip, Piru, Sudanyo, Southside, or whatever, you gotta know how to perform in front of the crowd. Doing a bunch of bullshit is a bad representation for the program that you putting out there to the people. Now, we may come with a part 2 of this. If y'all want a part 2, let us know in the comments who y'all want to see on here. We're going to keep coming with that fire. It's the best hood channel on YouTube, Rap News Street Politics. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We out.